Right, what we're going to attempt to do today is hang this brand new door in a hole that's already prepared. The first thing you want to do is see if the door fits the hole and stop it falling straight through the other side. Just whack a nail in the head of the door, because the door stop will hide that. You don't need a Black & Decker workmate, just a regular piece of 3x2 and a wedge, and you'll be able to stand the door up quite sensibly. Prepare some thin wedges for propping the door into the hole. You'll see that in a minute. Now jack the door up and stick the wedges under it. Use the special chisel and block of wood and foot method to squeeze the door into the hole so we can see if it needs anything planing off. Have a look around the edges of the door to see if there's any gaps or massive areas that need sorting out. You can see the head of the door's not exactly level there. The gap around the edges is variable, shall we say. So we're going to have to mark all this up and perhaps get the planer going. So mark the top edge of the door so you know which is the front and which side the hinges are going on, so that when you offer it back up you don't get the thing back to front. Mark along the head of the door. You'll see you want to keep that line obviously parallel to the door lining, and that's the bit we're going to plane off. You don't want to go mad with the planer, so always check it very carefully. So there's the door safely in the contraption, and we're ready to get planing. You can use your hand plane if you want, or if you've got a power planer, have a go with that. Now what I did notice interestingly was that the door was made in South Africa. It comes from Wicks. I noticed the packaging had got NP Northampton, which sounds a bit familiar. Right, so mark the hinge side of the door first carefully with the pencil. You can't take much off these composite doors, so you just want to take the minimum off to make the thing fit nicely. Just keep the pencil parallel all the way up, and you should be able to make that fit nicely once you've planed that bit off. I think it's a good idea to just what we call backing the door off a bit, so you plane it slightly on an angle so that the door doesn't bind. Now that, I don't know if that works, but it sounds like a good idea. So there we are. The thing roughly fits now. It's reasonably snug. Go all the way around and just mark the other side up. See what wants to be taken off in the places where it's a bit tight. Bear in mind this is going to have several coats of paint. Now I just use a thin piece of timber and use it as a guide to run the pencil along. Obviously you can only do things with one hand if you're filming with the other. Now mark out the position of the hinges. I like to come 5 inches from the top and 10 inches from the bottom. You'll notice the hinges have got 2 sides, so mark that out. Get your chisel, chop this the area out that you want to rebate the hinge into. There we are. The hinges come supplied with some screws which in my opinion are too big. They tend to protrude through the holes, which might cause a problem later on. Anyway, there's the hinges rebaited into the side of the door, and we're all set to try the door in the hole. Now, this is one of the trickiest bits. Marking the hinges onto the door jamb. There's two ways to do this. I like to just whack the wedges underneath, line the door up nicely and mark around it. You can put the door completely in the hole and close it, and then attempt to mark the hinge positions with the door closed, as it were. I find that's less successful than the first method. Okay, so you've marked out your positions. Now you've got to just chop that out and test. Take one of the other hinges off and test it in the hole to see how it fits. Ideally you want a sharper chisel than I've got here, and you won't make such a mess of it. Jack the door up again, put some screws in it and test the door in the hole, and with a bit of luck it'll fit reasonably well for a handyman job. Now the experts out there will tell you should use all sorts of fancy methods, but this is a handyman job. Admittedly, I'm going to confess that we haven't got it exactly perfect here, and in my opinion that is a bit of a large gap. Not quite sure where that went wrong, but anyway, the door's in the hole and we're going to paint it, and I'm sure it'll look lovely. Thanks for watching.